Hello Flosstube, I'm Angelica and this is Rose Art Crafts. Welcome to new and returning viewers. Today is Friday, January 22nd. In this video, I'm going to go over some stats from 2025, my plans for 2026, share what I've been working on since my last video, and as well as a small life update. Disclaimer before I get started, it is 9 o'clock at night and I am short on time, so the lighting isn't the best. And I'm sure you'll hear background noises. I would love if I could have this recorded tonight so I could get it edited tomorrow and then get a fresh start to all my plans on Sunday, which is when my plans start. So I'm going to do life update first because that's the shortest. I've had more family time over the past 2 weeks than I have all year. I'm not complaining, but unfortunately I was suffering from a tooth infection. The discomfort started early December, but the pain hit on the 17th and continued until I was able to get it pulled on the 29th, which was only a few days ago. By the way, I found it very humorous to have somebody stitching in my mouth. That's all my life update I have for now. Next up, I'm just going to show you what I've been working on because it's not much. Mostly this video is going to be talking about plans and my stats. Since I posted the WIP parade, I've only worked on 4 projects and 2 of those are new starts. So the first thing I worked on since my last update was Lost Soul. Lost Soul is artwork by Selina Fenech, and the chart is a retired chart from HAED. Here's where I'm at. Since my last video or update, I did all of this dark stitching right here. That's a lot. It feels like it's more than what I put in for the rest of the year, but it's not. So it says 3,627 stitches. I was pushing at the end of December to try, because my original goal for the year was to get the first top 3 pages done. So I wanted to see if I could push myself to get that to happen. Then I realized that the more stitches I put into it this year, the more likely I may be able to hit 25% of the full chart next year. That's not likely though, and I'll explain more to that later. Next up is Well Suited. Well Suited is from Ink Circles. Here's my progress. I picked this up after Lost Soul because it was so close to hitting 50%. Well, first off, I put in 591 stitches since I showed this on my WIP parade. So yeah, I wanted to push it to get it to 50%, and I did before New Year's. So I did get it to 50% before New Year's Eve, and then I also picked it up late last night just because of all my WIPs. This is the closest to a finish. It has the least amount of stitches remaining. So I was watching a bunch of WIP parades yesterday, and I was just feeling motivated to get some progress in, and yeah, this is the closest to a finish, so that's what I was motivated to work on. So those were my 2 existing WIPs. Now I have 2 new starts to show you. This one is my New Year's Eve new start, and it is Peter Pan from Mandie Manzano, charted by Creatively Stitching. And that I wasn't intending on doing a center start, but I just couldn't brain where to start for the top left side corner, so I just figured it was easier just to do a center start because I was confused because I think the full width of the chart is this long, so, or this wide I should say. I think the full width of this chart is only it's skinny. It's going to be a skinny thing. I think she's like 1/3. Anyways, this has been a chart that I've had in my stash since I started cross stitching. It was one of my first charts I ever purchased back before Creatively Stitching had originally retired everything. They retired everything like a year or two ago, but I've had this for a long time. But when I went to go price check to have it kitted up, it was just too expensive for me at the time. So, and I'm not going to fully kit this up with all the colors right now. I'm just going to focus on the black and white, or the black stitching, and then just fill it in later. The chart is also charted with a bunch of discontinued flosses. I did make sure to convert all of those over before deciding that I was going to start this. So that's all accounted for, all of the discontinued colors. And then the last new start is my New Year's Day new start. This has the least amount of progress with so 90 stitches. Just 90 little stitches. I should also say that both this and Peter Pan are 2/1 half stitch, and this is 28 count, not 25 like I usually stitch on. So this is my first time charting on or stitching on 28 count, and honestly, I didn't even notice until I was writing everything down and I remembered that this is 28 count, not 25. So yeah, it's very similar to 25 count. Yeah, not really, didn't really notice the difference. So this is I didn't say, this is Lectio Divina by Claudia McKinney, Claudia McKinney. This was charted by Charting Creations, and I think this is going to be my largest BAP, overtaking Melisandre, which had been my biggest BAP so far. And that's everything that I've worked on. Like I said, this is mostly going to be a talking video. I want to go over my stats for last year, and then what my plans are for this year. So 2025 stats. First off, quick notes. I do count half stitches are equal to full cross, and seasonal whips are designated to either October or December stitching. So when I say the seasonal whips, it's a term I'll use a lot moving forward. Yeah, it's either my Halloween stitch projects or my Christmas projects, which are specifically designated to October and December. And I don't usually count them for my totals. So I started 2025 with 25 whips and 23 seasonal whips. I planned on 11 new starts, but actually started 12 plus 19 seasonal. I had 4 finishes when I hadn't intended on having any finishes last year, and I ended up with 2 UFOs. I UFO'd a stamp kit because I realized that not only was it licensed artwork, but it was not charted well. It wasn't a chart that could be easily used as a stamp kit, and so I did toss it. I didn't it wasn't worth it to offer it to somebody else to learn how to stitch on. It was just garbage. And then I also unfortunately UFO'd Aurora Cabin, which is a chart I really love, and I didn't throw it away. It is boxed up and put away, but unfortunately, because it's charted with both full and half cross, and it was one of my first whips, and so the direction in which I stitched is opposite to what I stitch now. It just made the overall like stitching was really difficult. So I'm not going to continue working on it. Whips being brought into 2026 is 72 total. That's 14 full coverages, 13 non-full coverages, 42 seasonal, and 3 stamped. My goal for 2025 was to put 2,000 stitches into all of my whips except for my 5 focus whips, which would get 10,000 stitches. I had a stretch goal of 25,000 stitches on Lost Soul and Epic Pokemon, but I didn't meet those goals, or that stretch goal. Epic Pokemon got the most stitches for the year with a recorded 15,343 stitches. But there was a week from Thanksgiving into December that I kept forgetting to log my stitches, and I'm confident it was at least 3,000 stitches of unrecorded stitching. And because it started to be full coverage and I'm not stitching the background, some of the background color is charted for some of the Pokemon, and it just makes it too difficult to get an exact number of what's remaining on the chart. But I started the year off with Pattern Keeper saying I was at 20.8% complete, and I'm ending the year with the chart saying 48.87% complete. I did an extra push last month between, I think, Flosstube and my whip parade. I did an extra push last month to try to get Epic Pokemon to 50%, but I underestimated how much stitching that actually was, and I think I stopped to get ready for the whip parade. So if you had watched my whip parade, you'd see that I had gotten a lot of progress at that time. Lastly, I ended the year with approximately 164,090 stitches. 113,703 stitches were from existing whips, and 50,387 stitches were from 2025 new starts. Okay, and the last thing we're going to talk about is plans, but this is probably going to be the bulk of this video. So my number one goal for 2026 is to limit my hobby time. Whether I'm stitching, diamond painting, or gaming, I hyper focus, and I hyper focus, and I'm neglecting other tasks that I need or want to accomplish. I've come up with 2 plans of attack to help this year. One is including a stitching game, but mostly I'm going to attempt to set weekly stitching hours. So I've assigned myself an average of 20 hours per week or 80 hours per month for stitching. That is less than what I'm putting in now or have been putting in. So I'm going to I'm dropping down the time that I'm allowing myself to stitch. Now there's going to be times where I'm highly motivated and I want to keep stitching. And then there's going to be other times when I'm not so motivated and I'll be under that time. So as long as I average 20 hours per week for this year, 2026 should be a more productive year, even though it means my stitching time will be reined in. Goal number 2 is to include more vlog style videos. I've been wanting to do that for a while, but I just haven't gotten into the habit of it. Lastly, goal number 3 is no stitch goals. Last year I set a stitch goal, like I said, 2,000 per whip, 10,000 for focus whips. But this year I'm not. Setting a stitch goal caused me to systematically work my way through every whip until it met its goal, for the year, and then was set aside. This year I want more randomness and chaos stitching. That's not to say I don't want to put in a lot of stitches, but I just want it to be more random. This year I picked 3 games to focus on: Whip of the Week, Flosstuber Frenzy, and Monopoly. For whip of the week, I will choose one whip every Sunday and make sure to pick it up at least once. With the way I have my planner set up, this allows me 38 weeks to touch every non-seasonal whip starting January 4th, with the last Sunday call being on September 20th. If I can successfully make it through all my whips, because sometimes I'm not gonna, I know for sure I'm not gonna be able to do this every single week. There's gonna be times that there's gonna be weeks I'm gonna have to skip, but if I could successfully make it through all of my whips, I may end the game early or continue depending on how many weeks I have remaining. For Flosstuber Frenzy, I chose 10 Flosstubers plus a bonus. If you're also playing along with the game, you know how difficult it is to narrow it down. In the end, I made sure my picks are the creators I'm most likely to watch as soon as their videos go live. I rarely miss their videos, and if I do, it's because I'm taking a break from Flosstube. My choices in alphabetical order is Becky's Madness for Crafting. I will be working on Pokemon Type Chart by Tiny Pufferfish, which is her daughter. She also picked me as her for her Flosstuber Frenzy, but I'd already picked her before she made her announcement. And I started following Becky originally about 2 or 3 years ago because of Mrs. Coffee. At that time, Mrs. Coffee was talking about how Becky used to post what's in the pot videos, and at that time I remember when I subscribed, it was during the time she had a cast, so she couldn't stitch, and so I think that was like February or March in that year, so I'm not sure which year that was, if that was 22, 23, 24, somewhere in there. I'm not sure, but that's how long I've been following her. Next up is Black Sheep Meat, and she is going to get Nostalgic Tarot. Though she doesn't post too much to YouTube, she is a streamer on Twitch. She posts, or she streams gaming content, but I'm probably going to use her streams to count towards her monthly videos. So what I'm going to do is I made a spreadsheet of everybody and their whips, and then when they post a video or have a live, in her case, I'm going to make a square. I'm gonna make a box, and just keep doing that every time they make a post, because I'm probably not going to stay on top of it as soon as they post a video. I'll probably let a couple weeks pass by and then kind of play catch up. But yeah, when she posts it, when she goes live, I'm going to count that as a video for her. Next up is Crafty Gaming Jamie, and I'm going to work on Melisandre from Maxine Gad. Jamie just finished her Autumn Harmony, but she's the one who inspired me to start this piece. I started watching Jamie because of Cross Stitch the Globe. I think it was Allison who mentioned that she was watching her Flossmas videos a year or two ago. I can't remember. But yeah, she called her out, and then I went and checked her out, and I think Jamie was the first creator that I found that was actually stitching geeky stuff. It was more it was more stuff that I like to stitch. Next up is Cross Stitch the Globe, and for Stephanie, I will be doing Dark Queen of the Sea by Autumn Lane Stitchery. Dark Queen is not something I believe Stephanie would gravitate to, but it's my only fancy lady, and I want more progress on her this year. Next is Jen, the Caffeinated Crafter, and for Jen, I'm going to work on Lost Soul, which I already showed earlier. I know I said I'm not making any stitch goals this year, but if I can hit 17.6 thousand stitches on Lost Soul, I'll make it to 25% of my whip. That's still more than what I did this past year, but assigning it to Jen, who's a content making machine, I'll have to pick it up more frequently. Next is Jessie Marie Does Stuff, and for her, I'm going to be working on Thistle by Carolyn Manning. I may switch this out later on because I don't have all the floss for it, but I have enough to get it started. But seeing Jessie work on Sweater Weather is what made me go onto Carolyn's site and find a piece that speaks to me. And not only is it one of my favorite color schemes, the green and purple, but my grandpa was really into his Scottish heritage, which included listening to Scottish folk music. But not only that, there was that thing with Eeyore and the thistle. It's just something else that I think of when I hear the word thistle. Next up is Sammy J. Stitches, and for Sammy, I'm going to be working on GoldenEye Dragon Lane by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. Sammy was actually the hardest to choose a whip for, simply because I have so many whips that would work well with her. But I ended up choosing this one because to match her Alice in a Dolly Dream by the same artist. And I think we're both doing the mini versions of these charts. Next is Sloppy Stitching Sisters, which is a tongue twister, and I always have to slow myself down to say it. But anyways, I will be working on Visit Isla Nambar, wow, that didn't come out of my mouth right, from Country Magic Stitch. It was the tongue twister, threw me off. Because Tasha created a Jurassic Park pattern, that's why I picked this one. And if I finish this one, because I don't think there's too much left, I don't have my totals right next to me, but if I could get this finished this year, then I'll switch it out for a BAP. I'm thinking maybe Alice from Bill Bell, possibly. Next is Total Stitch Show, and I'll be working on Video Game Sampler. Steph only stitches geeky and nerdy things with special interest in Star Wars and Has-Been Hotel. She is a talker, which I adore, but if I want to follow her train of thought, I really need to be fully awake first. This is also a whip she's working on, and disclaimer, she uses a lot of adult language in her videos. And my 10th Flosstuber is Thread Gremlins, and I'm choosing No Time Like the Present from Modern Folk Embroidery. I chose this whip because usually Elizabeth and Carolyn pick a Jacob piece each year to work on together, but I don't think that they did this time. But it's still a piece that I'd like to make some big progress on. So my bonus category for Flosstuber Frenzy is Team Sips and Stitches. It was announced last month that Stiach will be back this year. I'm a member of Team Sips and Stitches, and the Discord thread has started moving again. I've made a list of everyone that I know of on my team, and I'll update it when the game gets started. At this time, I'm only aware of a few Flosstubers on my team that still post actively on YouTube. But if anyone on my team posts the video, I'll be working on Alice in Wonderland by Owl Forest Embroidery. This is one of my earliest whips and something I was working on back when my team was talking more frequently. By the way, our team captain is Jessie of Mislaid Pages. Last but not least is Monopoly. You probably heard a lot of Monopoly talk from other creators last year, so I'm not going to go over everything. I had intentions of starting Monopoly stitching last January, but never got around to it. I had written down all of the rules and everything was set up to go, but I was overthinking it, and it just things happened and I never got it off the ground. And honestly, I didn't think that I would be trying again this year. But to relieve some of the pressure off myself, I won't be filming my gameplay. Each round will continue until I've reached my stitch time limit, and that's including Flosstuber Frenzy and the Whip of the Week. It just means that I have to stop and take a break, and do other things, until I can get going again. And if for any reason I can't maintain playing Monopoly, I do have a backup plan, just so that I don't lose progress. So for my Monopoly, I will be using my Sailor Moon Monopoly board. I've assigned whips to all the colored properties and railroads. The 2 utility spaces are seasonal stitching. Jail is a stamped kit. Just visiting is sampler number 208. No whips are assigned to free parking or the 2 tax spaces. The community chest and chance cards have been combined into whip cards. But most importantly, each token represents a team. These teams are the Taskmasters, the Gamers, the Crafting Admin, and the Brain Breakers. The reason why this is important is because whenever a team passes go, they have to complete a side quest, and that side quest is determined by what that team is. So I do have a list in my journal for the teams to do. Most of them are going to be like 2 hours per task, but it also depends on which tasks that they're doing. But for example, the gamers, if they pass go, they'll need to complete 2 hours on a new game from my backlog. These are games that I've had in stash for a long time that I haven't gotten around to, because all I've been playing the last couple years is games that require maintenance, and I really want to play other games. If the crafting admin passes go, they need to spend 2 hours on digital organization like Notions or Google Drive, but they also can work. I could also work on project backs or FFO things, which I've never done. But this could be an opportunity to make myself do that this year. Task masters require tasks I keep putting off, like cleaning out the bathroom cabinet, and preferably not craft related tasks. These are like other life tasks. And the brain breakers contain a list of activities like Beat Saber or reading. I chose options where my brain can't multitask on other things besides the immediate activity that I'm working on. And Beat Saber is a video game. It's a VR game, kind of like Fruit Ninja, but to music. So that's just that's why I wanted to attempt to do Monopoly this year, is so that I could focus on those other tasks, right? It could force me to make more time for those non-stitching tasks. And yes, there's gamers in there, but like I said, every time I game, I'm only gaming on the games that require maintenance, like Genshin Impact, Honkai Star Rail, Disney Dreamlight Valley, even Grand Theft Auto Online, Infinity Nikki. These are all games that that have updates, and you have to keep getting on to maintain your whatever, maintain your account. But anyways, so yeah, I have a whole bunch of games, and I said this a couple years ago in a video that I've just got so many games in my backlog that I haven't been able to touch. So if the gamers, when the gamers pass go, that means I need to stop and do a side quest and start a new game. And I have to start a new game every single time. I'm not telling myself to keep playing that game that I just started. I need to start a new game. And that'll, if I want to play more than those 2 hours, that doesn't count towards my Monopoly game, if that makes sense. anyways, I think that's all my plans, and hopefully after I edit this, maybe it'll be closer to a half hour. So I'm gonna wrap it up for tonight, so that I could. I don't know if you heard that. My child just dumped some toys out. Anyways, I'm gonna wrap it up for the night so I could get this saved, and then first thing in the morning I'm going to go ahead and start editing, and then I will have this up either Saturday evening or early Sunday morning. So until then, happy stitching, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.